The cafeteria was louder than usual that Friday afternoon, but in one corner of Lincoln High, a different kind of noise was building. It wasn't laughter, nor the clatter of lunch trays. It was the rising murmur of cruelty. In the middle of the crowd stood Amara Daniels, a quiet, soft-spoken black girl who had only transferred to Lincoln 2 weeks ago. Her braided hair was always neat, her uniform pressed, and her eyes filled with the kind of intelligence most people overlooked. Amara wasn't the loudest, the funniest, or the most popular. She was just invisible. Or at least she tried to be. But bullies don't need a reason to pick a target. "Hey, new girl," sneered Blake Thompson, the school's self-proclaimed king of cruelty. His friends, Mason and Tyler, followed close behind, their faces twisted with the kind of smirks that made your stomach tighten. They didn't like different. They didn't like smart. And they sure didn't like anyone who refused to bow to their nonsense. Amara tried to walk past them, clutching her tray with trembling hands, but Blake stepped in her way. His cold hand shot out, grabbing her collar and yanking her backward so hard that her tray crashed to the floor, scattering food everywhere. The cafeteria fell silent. Amara's heart pounded. She felt the stares, the judgment, the whispers. Her breath caught in her throat, but she refused to cry. She would not give them that power. "What's wrong? Can't you talk?" Blake mocked, his fingers still clutching her collar. "This isn't your little private school anymore. You're in our world now." For a split second, Amara's mind flashed back to the promises she had made to herself. Stay low. Don't fight back. Just survive the semester. But as Blake yanked her collar harder, something in her snapped, not out of rage, but out of resolve. Her grandmother's voice echoed in her mind. "Sometimes, baby, you gotta show people who you really are, not with your words, but with your strength. Quiet strength can shake the world." Amara calmly raised her hand and grasped Blake's wrist, not roughly, but firmly. Her eyes, usually downcast, locked onto his with a quiet intensity that chilled the entire room. "Let go," she whispered. Blake laughed nervously, tightening his grip. But before he could blink, Amara twisted his wrist just enough to break his balance. Her foot slid behind his, and with a gentle but precise motion, a move she learned from years of jiu-jitsu practice, Blake stumbled forward and landed flat on his back. Gasps rippled across the cafeteria. Blake's friends stepped forward, but Amara didn't flinch. She stood tall, her hands steady, her face calm. Her voice didn't shake when she spoke. "I'm not here to fight you," she said softly, her tone like steel wrapped in silk. "But I'm not here to be your victim either." Blake scrambled to his feet, his face flushed red, not from pain, but from humiliation. His usual insults died on his lips. He'd never been knocked down before, especially not by someone like her. A teacher rushed over, but it was too late, the entire school had already witnessed it. The video of the moment was recorded by at least 5 different phones. By the end of the day, it would be everywhere. Blake Thompson gets flipped by new girl, instant karma. But for Amara, it wasn't about going viral. It was about reclaiming her dignity. Over the next few weeks, something in the school changed. Some students whispered behind Amara's back, still stuck in their old ways. But many others approached her with kindness, curiosity, even admiration. Quiet kids began sitting beside her at lunch. Girls who had once ignored her now asked about jiu-jitsu classes. And the teachers? They finally saw Amara, not